Part 11. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyubuletin Chigwa. Chapter 101. Falling down in the toilet stall, the scarecrow could only watch as his life was wiped out. Controlling a ghost doesn't mean you won't get hurt. On the contrary, precisely because you have become a ghost master, you need to be more careful. Because no one knows in which supernatural event they will die. I was attacked. The means of attack are unknown and the target of the attack is unknown. The scarecrow's eyes were full of horror. This sudden supernatural power is too terrifying. He didn't even have the slightest time to react. He had clearly tested that there was no supernatural residue in this toilet. When did he trigger the killing pattern? Scarecrow roared inwardly. The expression was very unwilling. Is it here? Just then, he heard a sound. The voice is familiar. It was the ancient instructor who had been watching him closely. Didn't he kill some people just to test Li Gui's ability? This lunatic had been chasing him for more than a month. If Li Gui hadn't had special abilities, he would have been caught long ago. Crunch. The door to the toilet cubicle was pushed open. The scarecrow's body fell down. Fall out of the stall. The severe pain made him howl uncontrollably, and he reluctantly opened his eyes, just in time to see a figure squatting in front of him. It was the ancient instructor. There seemed to be another person traveling with him. A red hemp rope was tied to his wrist, and he held a red spear. The big hole in his chest was pierced by this gun. Oh, it's you. Scarecrow suddenly realized. The kitchen of the villa of the past is half a villa away from the cubicle where he is. But the opponent's supernatural attack penetrated him accurately. This method is unpredictable and weird. It is worthy of being a monster that can control two ghosts, own a ghost domain, and is codenamed Yamluo. You guys haven't won yet. After saying that, the scarecrow died completely. He died. The ancient instructor said with some disbelief. How far has this Yama gone in the horror game? It's enough to control two ghosts, one of which has a ghost realm, and he also takes out all kinds of magical supernatural props one after another. Whether it is the white morning stick or the spear that can kill people through a medium, they are definitely not supernatural items that can be obtained at this level. Is it possible that he really got it by eating soft rice? The ancient instructor looked a little strange. He also wanted to eat this soft rice. But after taking a look at Shenjian and then at himself, he quickly gave up this idea. Not everyone can eat soft rice. I'll die anyway. I just need that ghost anyway. Shenjian said indifferently. He added in his mind, there are still ghosts. While talking, the evil ghost inside the scarecrow revived. Waves of turbulent yin qi filled the air, and the terror level suddenly soared to King II level. It let out waves of low roars. Shenjian took out the image of the ghost sword and put the Rakshasa gun on the head of the sentient ghost. Eat it, understand? Sensing ghost, Ba'a. Brother, I have just recovered and am at the peak of my ghost life. How about you give me some face and let me show off my power first? Shenjian said coldly, no. Sensing ghost. With tears of sadness, the perceived ghost swallowed the images bit by bit like chewing paper. After a few seconds, the sensing ghost reacted. Start tracking on your own. Until I came to room 303 of the staff dormitory. Knock knock knock. After a dull knock on the door. No one opened the door. Shenjian frowned. No one? That would be easy. Shenjian took out the morning stick. At this moment, the door of 303 slowly opened. A swollen head was exposed. It's you. Damn mouse, what do you want to do? Shenjian was startled. Because it was the ghost with kidney deficiency who opened the door. Are you an employee of 303? Shenjian asked. That's right. That would be easier. Shen Jian smiled. Kidney deficiency ghost? Old wounds have not healed, and new wounds have been added. The kidney deficient ghost covered his head and lay on the ground, screaming intermittently. When the sensing ghost saw this, he became even more frightened. He went all the way to the bathroom, opened the ceiling, and took out a box. Shen Jian was slightly surprised. This box seemed to be made of thousand-year-old building blocks and could isolate supernatural powers. What is inside the box is the ghost spirit knife. Kidney deficiency ghost. The ghost spirit knife that the boss lady is looking for? I didn't get it. The ghost with kidney deficiency panicked. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. Is there any evidence? The kidney deficient ghost was anxious. If I had known that the ghost spirit sword was here, I would have sold it long ago. Why should I be a team leader here and suffer such cowardice? Drop. The recording ends. Now there is evidence. Shen Jian picked up the phone and operated it, pinching off the beginning and ending. The conversation went like this. I know the ghost spirit knife is here. I took it and sold it. Why should I be a team leader here and feel cowardly? Kidney deficiency ghost? Listening to the completely different meaning in the recording, he looked at Shen Jian in disbelief. Damn it, you are not the son of a man. How could a human being be so hateful? Yes, in this case my contribution will be greater. Listening to the recording content, Shen Jian was also very satisfied. Pack up the kidney deficiency ghost and take it away. A small villa in the woods. The beautiful landlady looked at Shen Jian, who came back in disbelief. You found it? This was less than half an hour after she took the medicinal soup sent by Shen Jian. Shen Jian nodded. Opening the box revealed the ghost spirit knife inside. Side mission, retrieve the lost ghost sword, completed. You have gained the favor of the female ghost Yu Qianqian. Looking at the panel, Shen Jian added more details and told what happened. Yu Qianqian was furious. This damn kidney deficient ghost, I treat him well on weekdays, but he actually wants to sell me. Thanks to you, human. Yu Qianqian patted the white rabbit. Her emotions were ups and downs, but her anger remained unabated. Then she seemed to have thought of something. Do you want to try the ghost sword? I heard that humans can also be recognized by the ghost sword. If you can succeed, you will have an identity in the horror world in the future. Shen Jian was startled. After thinking about it, he picked it up without hesitation. Hungry, hungry, hungry. A voice came out. Shen Jian passed through a stream of yin qi. The voice was even hungrier. More, I'm hungry. As the yin qi was swallowed up, an evil ghost image appeared on the blade of the ghost spirit sword. It really worked. The beautiful landlady covered her mouth with surprise and excitement in her tone. Shen Jian also looked strange. Obtain the ghost spirit knife. Ghost knife, complete one of the legendary kitchen utensils. It has the magic power to make any food ingredients extremely delicious. Note, if the yin qi is insufficient, the ghost spirit sword will devour the host. This is not a supernatural prop. This is a complete ghost. Nourished by his yin qi, the ghosts were automatically controlled. When Shen Jian told this matter, the beautiful landlady became even more excited. Under her strong pleading, Shen Jian seemed to be a self-taught master and cooked a meal of ghost world cuisine. This is the inherent ability of the ghost spirit sword. Even a rookie can become a top cooking master with the supernatural blessing of the ghost spirit knife. Shen Jian served home-cooked food, scrambled eggs with tomatoes. The beautiful proprietress picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of tender egg and put it into her mouth. Almost the moment she entered the mouth, the delicious taste exploded on her tongue, and her taste buds were baptized like never before. The proprietress's pupils shrank and the chopsticks fell from her hands. Then a blush appeared on his face. A muffled groan came from his mouth. Sakura. Even that infinitely beautiful body was relaxed at this moment, as soft and boneless as cotton. Shen Jian on the side smacked his tongue when he saw this. He was a person who had never touched a kitchen knife a few times, but the food he cooked had the effect of making the female ghost directly. Is there really only one special effect missing? I'm learning cooking at Chokuki no Rei. It's so delicious. The beautiful lady boss is not stingy with her praises. Little hearts almost appeared in her eyes. Get the favor of the female ghost Yu Qianqian. The plot mission of the female ghost Yu Qianqian has been unlocked. Please explore on your own. Having mastered the ghost sword, you are already the top cooking master. Coupled with the supernatural effect of the ghost sword itself, no one can resist the meals you make. The beautiful landlady's beautiful eyes were light and I felt pity for her. Help me, can you? Shen Jian only felt a fire burning. Glanced at the panel. The progress of the hidden main quest has reached 93%. By the time the dinner is over, it will surely reach 100%. Of course, I'll help you with everything I have. A smile appeared on Shen Jian's face, and his tone couldn't help but get a little heavier at the end. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chigua. Chapter 102. Nearing the dinner period. More and more evil ghosts have entered the villa of the past. The thick yin qi permeated the air, as if forming a dark ghost mist, making all the players tremble. Because they are assigned as waiters. Oh my god, this is what it means to survive until the end of the dinner party. This is the most dangerous part of this copy. A group of players of around 10 levels swallowed their saliva and served dishes one after another with pale faces. Even the ancient instructor couldn't help but frown while holding this food. Even the simplest cold seaweed has ingredients added into it. The red chili oil has a strong smell of blood. Fortunately, there aren't many such foods. It's some of the lowest end cuisine. Real haute cuisine is the food of the human world. Every dish exudes an alluring fragrance. Spicy pig's trotters, sheep whip soup. We are also players. Why are we doing handyman work, while the other party is greeting guests like the owner of a villa? At this time, a player muttered. Look in Shen Jian's direction. His eyes were full of envy. I saw. Shen Jian stood at the door of the dinner party. On the left was the ghost mother Lucienne, who was dressed in a smart dress. On the right was the proprietress of the Rebirth Villa, Yu Qianqian, who was dressed in a fancy dress and wearing a hazy veil. Every time a fierce ghost came in, Shen Jian responded with the most sincere smile. Service attitude is max. Can't fault it at all. I thought you didn't want to welcome guests here. Ghost Mother Lucienne said softly. What can I say? These are all karma of traveling, they are all distinguished guests. Shen Jian's eyes were hot. One ghost in green clothes, two ghosts in green clothes, three ghosts in green clothes. One ghost in red, two ghosts in red. The more he counted, the faster Shen Jian's breathing became. He could hardly hold his hands anymore. There were so many guests at the dinner party. Even if a few disappeared, no one would be able to tell. Click. The sound of breaking glass was heard. Shen Jian looked back. A big smoker with a cigar in his mouth grinned. Because a player accidentally poured a Bloody Mary on the smoking man's clothes. He was one of the unlucky ones who entered the wrong special copy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. The player apologized sincerely. Cold sweat dripped from his face, and his legs and feet felt weak. When other players saw it, their faces turned pale. But he could only remain indifferent. Because it was a terrifying ghost whose terrifying level was close to the red-clothed level. Even at the dinner party, they are among the most high-end ones. If a ghost of this level wanted to kill someone, the villa of the past could only turn a blind eye. What's more, it's humans who are the first to make mistakes. Chat interface. Instructor Gu, are you crazy? Do you want to die? I have long warned you to be cautious when doing things. You are also a 2-star player, why would you make such a low-level mistake? Passenger A, I, 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 I was wronged. It was the ghost next to me who tripped me. This player is about to cry. His whole body was shaking. Instructor Gu, there is no other way. Please beg for mercy quickly in this case. I can't save you. Huh, wait, you are lucky. As the ancient instructor was speaking, his expression suddenly became startled. The direction of the door. Shen Jian, who was welcoming guests, came over. With a smile on his face, he said, "Friend, if there is a conflict, we can go out and resolve it." The big smoker held a cigar in his mouth, with a bit of contempt in his eyes. "Humans, don't think that just because you stand next to Yu Jianqian, you think you can have anything to do with the villa of the past. She is mine." "Shen Jian? Did you meet the suitor of the boss lady?" Shen Jian's smile became even brighter. His eyes were full of intrusion. "What a coincidence, the boss's wife is mine." "How dare you, Yang Wei, be jealous of the boss's wife?" Shen Jian lowered his voice. "Big smoker? Are you calling me Yang Wei? How vicious. You can say that my taste is not good, my appearance is not good, my figure is not good, and my mind is not good, but my physical fitness is definitely good." After a moment of brainstorming, the big smoker's anger was completely ignited, and his eyes were full of anger. "How about we go out and compete?" He had already made up his mind to go out and tear this human being alive. Let his wails ring through the dinner party. "How's it going there?" Shen Jian raised his eyebrows and pointed to a hidden corner. "Very good, hidden enough." The big smoker smiled cruelly. "Drink the Bloody Mary in your hand in one gulp." It turns out that place is truly secluded. It was specially selected by Shen Jian. There will be absolutely no one to disturb you, and no sound will be heard. The big smoker used his own personal experience to prove this point. Just now he screamed so loudly and was beaten so badly that no ghost came out to investigate the situation, so he could only watch helplessly as he was stuffed into a sack. Back to the dinner party. Looking at the situation where only Shen Jian came back. The surrounding players, including some of the fierce ghosts who noticed the development, all had question marks on their faces. Where are the ghosts? Even if you reconcile, shouldn't you come back together? What does coming back mean? If there is friction, there should be movement. They thought about several possibilities, but no one considered the possibility of Shen Jian coming back alone. Something is wrong. Something is very wrong. Instructor Gu, who was preparing wine at the dinner party, came to Shen Xiang's side and said, "Yamluo, where was that ghost just now?" Shen Jian glanced at me. I told him Yang Wei, but he didn't believe me. "Then what?" "Then," Shen Jian said helplessly, "then I helped him understand his disease. He is indeed a 3-second idiot. He is a good ghost, so why is he weak?" Instructor Gu. This is different from what he imagined. Have you really been cured? That's right, no matter how powerful Yama is, can he still suppress a ghost close to the red level? It was he who took the myth of Yama too far. Think so? Instructor Gu suddenly saw that Shen Jian was holding a cigar in his hand. There seemed to be blood on the cigar. Instructor Gu. He asked tentatively, "That big smoker, couldn't it be you?" As he spoke, he made a gesture of wiping his neck. Shen Jian frowned and emphasized, "Healing, I am helping him heal." Instructor Gu understood. It seems that the big smoker is indeed gone. To be able to suppress a fierce ghost close to the red-clothed level, Yama's strength is unimaginable. Maybe, he really is Yama on earth. The ancient instructor sighed inwardly. I have made up my mind to contact the Daxia branch in Qing City after returning to the real world. Perhaps he should help review and approve the new list of people in charge of Qing City reported by Jian Quan, and sell it to Yama as a favor so that if there is a supernatural incident in the Demon City in the future, someone can take care of it. Shen Jian didn't know what the other party was thinking. His eyes looked around, looking for the next victim. At some point, the already noisy dinner scene became boiling. Wow! The Rakshasa girl is here too. Who? The bloody queen of the bloody castle? That Rakshasa girl who owns a large territory before becoming the Ghost King. Can the Piranha Villa invite the Rakshasa queen to the banquet? As the ghosts were shocked, a tall female ghost wearing a red dress and with lips as red as blood walked in. The ghosts gasped. This is a fierce ghost who is comparable to the Ghost King in terms of status. In Nanjiang district, this 1/3 of an acre is already the top one. Even the red-clothed fierce ghosts of the same level would be extremely afraid of her. At this moment, she was the most dazzling presence in the room. And this Rakshasa queen was looking around as if she was looking for someone. Some of the fierce ghosts straightened their chests. If you can be valued by the Rakshasa queen, you will undoubtedly reach the sky in one step. The next moment, the queen smiled. Smiling like Yan. Changed from the cold arrogance before. I thought you didn't come. As she spoke, she walked towards a human wearing a red dress. Ghost Mother Lucian tugged at Shen Jian's sleeve and asked suspiciously, is she here to find you? Do you know her? Shen Jian. The Rakshasa queen who caused the commotion is none other than Kiluo, the red-dressed woman from Huangquan Hospital. Unexpectedly, in addition to being a rich woman, she is also a cruel person with a reputation for cruelty. Kiluo, a woman in red, walked over and saw Shen Jian and the ghost mother Lucian making small moves. He raised his eyebrows and said, it seems like I'm being too sentimental. You're doing quite well in the horror world. The beautiful landlady looked on. Thoughtful. Shen Jian rolled his eyes angrily. Then her red lips opened slightly. Guest, the dinner is about to begin, please take a seat first. The woman in red smiled and said, that's fine. On sight. Saw such a scene. All the ghosts were dumbfounded. What's the situation? The Rakshasa queen, whom everyone feared, actually greeted a human being. And laughed. Is this the expression shown by the owner of the bloody castle? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. This human being has nothing but good looks. How could the Rakshasa queen's attitude change drastically? Hallucination. This must be someone performing a similar hallucination. At the banquet, many ghosts' hearts were broken. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 103. The dinner party officially started. A scent of fresh fragrance suddenly spread here. The sounds of singing, dancing and music also sounded at the same time. This is a carnival feast among evil ghosts. Human players can only walk through this noisy banquet hall and serve the ghosts attentively. Shen Jian's eyes shined. When everyone was drunk, it was the time for him to take action. At this time, the benefits of the ghost doctor profession emerged. Shen Jian quietly blended into the group of guests and got together with the ghosts. First, he planned to make connections, and then take these plastic brothers out of the dinner party one by one, and then... Hey. Shen Jian was thinking. Next moment. All the evil ghosts gathered around looked at him. What is your relationship with Queen Rakshasa? Shen Jian. The female ghost mistook me. Shen Jian said seriously, you have misunderstood. I am actually a ghost doctor, and Miss Kilogo is one of my patients. Ghost doctor. The ghosts are suspicious. They have never heard that humans can become ghost doctors. After all, no human being can complete the prerequisites. But the other party is so swearing, he must have two brushes. Yes, I studied under the director of Huanquan Hospital, and I have achieved some success in medical skills. Shen Jian said modestly. Director of Huanquan Hospital? That famous female doctor. Hear this. The ghosts couldn't sit still. As a disciple of a famous doctor, what more needs to be said about his medical skills? Seeing this, Shen Jian struck while the iron was hot. Let me show it to you guys. That's all. Shen Jian started diagnosis and treatment very professionally. Brother, your physical fitness is average. Shen Jian sighed. Li Gui, who was covered in blood scars, suddenly became anxious. Human, it's boring for you to be like this. Who doesn't know my name, 13 years old? The blood-scarred ghost argued. Shen Jian frowned, is that so? I have a way to distinguish quickly, I just need my brother's cooperation. Any solution? Let me hit you with a stick. I know a special diagnosis and treatment method. As long as I give you a stick, it will be clear what is wrong with your body. Moreover, this process is painless and injury-free. Often I have already hit the patient without feeling anything. All the ghosts do not know why. After hearing this description, they felt something was wrong. What's wrong doesn't refer to them, but to this human being. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. Brother Blood Knife Ghost, are you worried that I will see something? Blood Scar Ghost. You damn girl said so. If I flinch, wouldn't it prove that my physical fitness is average? Let's take the test now. One person and one ghost left the dinner party immediately. The blood-scarred ghost was worried all the way. He had hurt his roots when he was young, but now he can no longer maintain his strength. That human was right, he really couldn't do it. But he couldn't admit in public that he couldn't do it. Isn't it just a stick? He can withstand it. When he was alive, he was the boss of a street. He cut with a watermelon knife from south to north for 3 days and 3 nights, and finally died from exhaustion. Is the physical fitness of an average person? Not to mention 1 stick, even 10 sticks, he wouldn't take it seriously. Before being hit by the white stick to Tianling Guy. At least that's what the blood scar ghost thinks. But after he actually got the stick, the blood-scarred ghost felt that his mind went blank, and the whole ghost seemed to be out of his mind. At that moment, he even saw his deceased grandma waving to him. Looking at the excited human being in front of him, there was only one thought left in the blood-scarred ghost's mind. With this power, you are definitely not a ghost doctor. That's all. Less than a minute before and after. Shen Jian is back again. Where's brother Bloodscar? Shen Jian sighed and said, I've already gone to the hospital. Who will be diagnosed next? Ghosts. At the same time. A banquet somewhere. Kilo, the woman in red, has arrived in front of the ghost mother Lucienne. Introduce yourself, Kilo, the lord of the bloody castle, what is your relationship with him? This him, of course, refers to Shen Jian. Ghost mother Lucienne frowns slightly. She has also heard of the name of the lord of the bloody castle, the Rax Hasa Queen. It is said to be an out-and-out crazy critic. And the relationship between the other party and his man seems to be more than just the first time they meet. As a female ghost, she could easily tell that the Rax Hasa Queen in front of her was interested in his man. So, Ghost Mother Lucienne said coldly, Lucienne, as for my relationship with him, you don't need to worry about it, but it should be obvious. How dare you talk to me like this? Kilo is condescending. She is at the red-clothed level, while the ghost mother is only at the green-clothed level. She is the highest status guest at this dinner, and the ghost mother is just an employee of the villa of the past. She is the master of the bloody castle, and the ghost mother is just a little female ghost. Lucien said coldly, "This is the villa of the past, even the ghost king cannot ignore the rules. Please, you look like you are interested in my man, do you want me to greet you with a smile?" Woman in red. There was a moment of silence. She said, "You don't deserve him. You don't have to worry about it." The ghost mother was not to be outdone. "Did you know that he has mastered part of the puzzle of ghosts and gods? With your current level of terror, you will only be at the red level if you survive for the rest of your life. But I am different. I will soon become the king of ghosts." Killuo couldn't help but said. The two female ghosts looked at each other, their eyes connected, there was a faint yin energy exploding, and they invariably showed a bit of hostility. The ghost mother suddenly realized. This is not about being interested in his man, this is about trying to steal him. Then, ghost mother Lucien changed her attack method. Calmly, "My relationship with him is closer than you can imagine." Killuo raised her eyebrows and said, "How close can it be?" As a female ghost, and a female ghost with a relatively strong style, how could she get used to the Rakshasa queen's behavior of wanting to declare sovereignty in front of her? The two female ghosts were fighting each other, refusing to give in at all. The other side. Shen Jian became more and more excited. "I have gone back and forth several times." He had already captured half of the banquet guests at the table. They are all Tsingyi level ghosts. Whether in terms of quality or quantity, this is a peak moment in his ghost catching career. Although there is no chance to catch a red-clad ghost for the time being, the dinner party will have to last for a while, so there will always be a chance. He doesn't pick. Whose turn is it next? Shen Jian looked at the three remaining ghosts on the banquet table. Ghost. Human, are you sure everyone at our table is sick? Why do I feel a little panicked? Shen Jian said seriously, "Just now a brother had mania, but have you seen him become manic? Doesn't this prove my superb medical skills? They might have been knocked unconscious by you." Human, forget it, we believe that you have nothing to do with Queen Rakshasa, and we also believe that you are a doctor with superb medical skills. You just have a simple doctor-patient relationship. The remaining four ghosts quickly refused. Something is wrong. Let's have a go first. Moreover, Shen Jian has proven his medical ethics in his own way. As long as he has nothing to do with the Rakshasa queen, then they don't bother to cause trouble for a human in this situation. Only. They think too simply. The next second, a gust of fragrant wind blew. Killuo, a woman in a red dress and red lips, pulled Shen Jian away with a look of shame and annoyance on her face. "Shen Jian? What are you doing? I have business. I also have a serious thing to ask you about." Killuo bit hard. "Say no here. No, go to a place where no one is around." All the ghosts. A pure doctor-patient relationship? What a liar. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chigua. Chapter 104. The moments of respite are always long. When Killuo, the woman in red, stood up again, her expression was very resentful. Shen Jian was a little helpless. "You were the one who started the trouble, what are you doing?" "I just want a certain female ghost to understand that I can do this kind of thing easily." Killuo, the woman in red, snorted coldly. Her heart was not as peaceful as she showed. Her eyes were wandering, and she always felt that the relationship between one person and one ghost had broken through the normal doctor-patient relationship. But he didn't want to be seen out by Shen Jian. He could only put on a straight face. "Huh? Is that the proprietress of the villa of the past?" At this time, suddenly she saw something. "Change the subject." Shen Jian looked over. The beautiful landlady has left the dinner party, but a sneaky ghost is following behind her. Shen Jian's eyes moved. Red level. The ghost that was following the landlady was one of the 3 red-clad ghosts at the dinner party. It's the owner of the Huangquan Hotel next door. Kilolo recognized the origin of the other party and said, Yellow Spring Hotel. Do not you know? Kilolo, a woman in red, explained, opposite the Purse Life Villa is the 5-star Huangquan Hotel. Although the two have different business models, they are basically the same. However, the Purity Villa has lost its owner and lost its livelihood. The competitiveness of the ghost spirit sword is no longer what it used to be, so Huangquan Hotel has thought of occupying the Piranha Villa. But at tonight's dinner, the dishes made by Ghost Spirit Knife reappeared, and the villa of the past came back to life. The boss of Huangquan Hotel probably saw this and was going to discuss it with the landlady. Shen Jian frowned. This is a humming competitor. Glanced at the panel. The progress of the hidden main quest has reached 98%. After tonight, he will be the master of the villa of the past. This red-clothed fierce ghost was jumping on his head. Without hesitation, Shen Jian followed. That's a scorch ghost. The exposed skin was severely burned and bloody, like a layer of red skin wrapping bones. The opponent's terror level is equivalent to 0.3 kilo, the woman in red. Among the red-clad fierce ghosts, it's not too bad. Shen Jian took out the morning stick. Follow quietly. At the same time, the burnt ghost secretly followed the boss lady. His eyes were full of evil. To find the ghost spirit knife at this time, after tonight, the value of the villa of the past will skyrocket, and the difficulty of occupying it will skyrocket. Thinking. The burnt ghost then saw the proprietress of the rebirth villa walking towards a forest. Looking faintly, he could see the shadow of a small villa. In such a secluded residence, could the ghost spirit sword be hidden there? The scorched ghost was excited. If the ghost spirit sword can be stolen, then the annexation of the Huangquan Hotel to the rebirth villa will become a certainty. And at the dinner just now, the dishes made by the ghost spirit knife almost made him swallow his tongue. It's so delicious that it's hard for Li Gui to resist. At this time, he suddenly noticed that there seemed to be someone beside him. Turn around subconsciously. He was greeted by a white stick. Burnt ghost. This sudden blow almost knocked him unconscious. I just feel that the sky is dark and the earth is dark in front of me. The dizziness persists. If he hadn't possessed red level strength, he would have fallen long ago. The burnt ghost was filled with horror. Who is it? Who the hell hit me? The burnt ghost looked up and saw a human with black rag hair and a hemp rope tied around his wrists standing not far from him. His eyes seemed a bit surprised. Accident. You are an unexpected ghost. I'm surprised. A human being was almost knocked down by a stick. If it happened again, wouldn't he just pass on the spot? He is the owner of Huangquan Hotel. A dignified and powerful ghost in red. After being hummed by a human, who knows if he can still survive? The other side. Shen Jian looked at the burnt ghost who had not fallen down, and a flash of surprise flashed across his face. Yes, you are the strongest ghost I have ever seen. You can actually catch my blow. Burnt ghost. Thank you. The scorched ghost looked fierce. Human, I will send you into the incinerator, and let you watch your body being roasted and scorched bit by bit until it is roasted into dregs. So what do you mean when you say harsh words and back away at the same time? Shen Jian picked up the morning stick and chased after him. Burnt ghost. He quickened his pace. While running, he took out a red pill from his body. He raised his head and took it in. In an instant, a majestic yin qi suddenly erupted from the burnt ghost. Shen Jian was even more surprised. After taking the pills, the burnt ghost not only stopped running away, but also became much more terrifying. already equivalent to 0.5 Qi Luo, the female in red. So, Shen Jian changed his weapons. He took out the Ghost King's exclusive soul-suppressing hammer, specialized in beating sap. One knockdown for 10 seconds. Haha, let's try again this time. The effects of the pills were fully stimulated, and the burnt ghost became confident. Looking at Shen Jian, a bit of a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Now, I am the hunter. The next second, the burnt ghost changed his cowardly behavior and rushed towards Shen Jian with countless yin energy. Boom! The soul-suppressing hammer hit the burnt ghost's head accurately. The supernatural effect attached to the underworld weapon caused the red-clad ghost to freeze on the spot. Shen Jian squatted down and knocked the burnt ghost on the head about 10 more times before putting it into the soul-binding bag. Several similar red pills were found on his body. Shen Jian was thoughtful. The yin energy attached to this pill is not strong, but the effect caused can actually double the strength of a red-clothed level devil on the spot. There are really a lot of good things in the horror world. Shen Jian sighed with emotion. At this moment, a rustling sound sounded. A figure approached. Shen Jian looked up and saw the beautiful landlady. I heard some noise here and came over to see what you were doing. The landlady was confused. Shen Jian. I'm admiring the moon. Yu Jianqian looked up at the turbid and gray sky. Silence fell for a moment. Shen Jian took the initiative to break the embarrassment. Hey, the dinner is not over yet, why did you leave? The landlady sighed, I just tasted the food made by Ghost Spirit Knife again. I feel more and more that I will never be able to make such top-notch food in my life, but I still want to try it. Shen Jian was startled. So you want to cook late at night? Is it not okay? Of course, Shen Jian smiled and said, but there is no progress if you work behind closed doors. Let me teach you. The pretty boss lady bit her lip. Letting a man enter the door at night is a widow's door. If she is discovered, she will be a ghost. But then I thought about it, she was going to learn cooking. There is no distinction between men and women in cooking. The master is a teacher. Shen Jian, who has mastered the ghost spirit sword, is undoubtedly the top cooking master. And she also hopes to taste Shen Jian's cooking again. Not a dinner party kind of thing. But do it for yourself alone. With this thought, she took Shen Jian back to her secret kitchen. There are all kitchen utensils inside. Shen Jian's eyes fell on the beautiful landlady's flawless cheeks and graceful figure. The air seemed to be filled with orchids. Shen Jian said seriously, now let's start preaching and teaching. The landlady blushed and nodded. Turn around and get ready. There are many ingredients on the chopping board. The landlady is selecting ingredients. Shen Jian came over and hugged his waist as soft as a water snake. And provide personal guidance. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 105. Kitchen. The freshly cooked food is already on the table. The proprietress dressed in a chef's outfit slowly walked into the hall, holding a bottle of wine in her hand. At this time, her pretty face was rosy, and she was secretly observing Shen Jian's behavior, wondering whether Shen Jian did it on purpose or accidentally. But after looking for a long time, I couldn't see any clues on Shen Jian's face. Instead, his eyes moved downward unintentionally. Then, turn your cheek. You have a taste. I'll go clean it up. The landlady bit her lip, her long eyelashes trembling slightly. Side mission, boss wife's heart knot, completed. Note, you have gained the favor of the female ghost Yu Jianqian. The favorability task has been unlocked. The current plot mission has been started. Story mission, let the villa of the past rebirth return to its peak. Introduction, once upon a time, the Villa of the Past was a world-class enterprise, reaching the pinnacle in terms of cuisine, accommodation, and transportation. However, due to an accident, the Villa of the Past fell from the altar and lost its former reputation. Task requirements: 1. Reclaim the Past Life Villa area, 2. Acquire the Huangquan Hotel. Glanced at the panel. Shen Jian was thoughtful. The Past Life Villa area he had seen before, and the address given by the red-dressed girl Kiluo, were indeed the property of the Past Life Villa. Only. Take it back again? Has it been seated? Don't leave yet, boss lady, I want to ask you a question. While eating abalone dishes, Shen Jian asked, do you want to see the Villa of the Past have an owner again? Yu Jianqian paused, shook her head and said, I don't want to. If Huangquan Hotel acquires this place, the Villa of the Past will only be a next step by step. This is the career I have worked for my whole life, and I will never give it up to others. Shen Jian was startled. He understood that the landlady had misunderstood what he meant. What I'm saying is, if I became the owner of the Villa of the Past, what would you do, boss lady? Yu Jianqian was confused. But he still thought about it seriously. If it were you, I believe you can lead the Villa of the Past to the top. Shen Jian smiled. See you later, boss lady. The words just fell. A scarlet panel emerged. This round of game has ended. Congratulations to the player for clearing the Feast of the Rebirth copy. The copy is being settled. Rating, S. Experience gained, 500%. Note, you have been promoted to level 24. Item obtained, Thriller Coin * 3000. Get special rewards, Thriller World Permissions. Note, congratulations to the player, you can get the permission to enter the horror world once every 7 days. During the period of entering the horror world, you need to obtain a valid residence permit, otherwise it will be regarded as an invasive species and become a red named player. Obtain special reward, Past Life Villa Real Estate. Note, congratulations to the player for obtaining the S-level evaluation of the Villa of the Past. Twice you have obtained the inheritance rights of the Villa of the Past. Note, the identity of the player King Yama has changed. Note, congratulations to the player Yama King for being the first to own a large-scale copy, and has unlocked the titles Real Estate Tycoon and Lord of the Past. Real World. Shen Jian opened his eyes. In front of me was information that was flooding the screen. He opened the game panel. Player, King Yama himself. Identity, King Yama, King Guang of Qin. Abilities, Pressure of Ghosts and Gods, Ghost Energy of Ghosts and Gods, Blood of Ghosts and Gods, Good Omen of the Netherworld. Strength, 60, the limit for ordinary people is 10. Speed, 60. Yin Qi, 6,300. Thriller Coin, 740,000. Real Estate, Room 101, Unit 3, Swequan Community, Rebirth Villa. Title, Dungeon Destroyer, Passive, Blood Spring Community Owner, Real Estate Tycoon, Lord of the Past, Passive. Dungeon Countdown, 10 days. Shen Jian had a full smile in his eyes. His hidden main quest reached 100% at the boss lady's residence, which means that the dinner party has ended successfully. He also passed the mission perfectly. Obtained an S-level rating. Rebirth Villa. Heir, King Yama himself. It is detected that the owner of the copy is a human, and the following permissions will be unlocked. 1. When the player stays in the Villa of the Past, his strength will automatically increase by 1 level. 30% of the Thriller coins produced can be withdrawn, and the rest will be used as dungeon funds. 2. The two-world passage can be opened to send people and ghosts to different worlds. Cooling countdown, 30 days. Available dungeons, Hotel of the Past, Newcomer Dungeon, 1-star Dungeon, Restaurant of the Past, 2-star Dungeon, Special Dungeon. Look at the comments filling the screen. Although Shen Jian was happy, his expression was also a little solemn. He especially noticed the term passage between two worlds. Change the meaning of this word. It's the gate of hell. The gate of hell is the passage connecting the underworld and the underworld. Only through here can one go back and forth between the human world and the underworld. The thriller game has already shared this permission. This means that thriller games are so powerful that they don't care if anyone dares to invade the thriller world. Just like Shen Jian himself. If he shared the authority of the Hell Gate with every underworld person, or even humans in the Yang world, then the underworld at that time would definitely have reached an unimaginable level. The 10 great Yamas, the 6 great judges, and the 10 great Yin commanders of the underworld are just the foundation. The 18 levels of hell, Nehi Bridge, Meng Potang, and the 6 paths of reincarnation are absolutely complete. A glimpse of the leopard shows that the current horror games are indeed not something that the emerging underworld can shake. But not far away either. Now that he is the owner of the Villa of the Past, the next step is to take back the Villa of the Past, annex the Huangquan Hotel, and then make it bigger and stronger. Take the entire Nanjiang district into your hands. He thinks. The title of Nanjiang District City Lord suits him quite well. Sort out all the gains so far. Shen Jian had an idea. Return to the Villa of the Past life again. Unlike the 3-day countdown with different round trips in room 101, the Villa of the Past does not have this restriction. He can appear in the dungeon territory at any time and anywhere. According to memory, Shen Jian came to the proprietress's cabin. Candlelight lit up the room. In the white screen window, a graceful body is faintly visible against the candlelight, which attracts people's imagination. Shen Jian pushed open the door and entered. The landlady turned around and was stunned when she saw it was Shen Jian. How did you come back? Just after Shen Jian disappeared, she got the news that other humans had also disappeared. This also meant that the other person had completed the dungeon mission of the thriller game, and the possibility of entering the same dungeon again in a short time was extremely low. She originally thought that Shen Jian was joking at that time. But now, she was confused. The only person who can freely enter and exit the dungeon is the owner of the dungeon. You inherited the Villa of the Past. The beautiful landlady was shocked. Of course, the boss lady won't think I'm lying. Shen Jian smiled. He slowly came to the landlady's side, sat on the bed, and at the same time touched her fair and smooth legs. You. She wanted to say why Shen Jian was so bold, but looking at the other person's eyes, she felt that Shen Jian was thinking of something bolder. Shen Jian continued, I inherited this rebirth villa, so naturally everything here including the proprietress should be taken care of by me. House lady, didn't you say that this Villa of the Past is your lifelong effort? I can promise you that I will take back all the properties of the Villa of the Past, annex the Huangquan Hotel, and restore the villa to its former glory. You know, I have this ability. Said. Shen Jian suddenly hugged the landlady's delicate body into his arms. You. The landlady wanted to speak, but in the end she just opened her mouth and made no subsequent sound. The next day. Happy time is always short-lived. After a night of studying, the boss lady has barely adapted to the high-intensity learning tasks. Her beautiful eyes are as tender as water and considerate. Seeing this, Shen Jian smiled. After eating the breakfast carefully prepared by the landlady, a piece of news caught his attention. It was Instructor Qian who sent the message. The news came last night. Instructor Qian at Kingyama, I can't contact you, please come back if you see me. Instructor Qian, the 2 people you asked me to investigate have been found, and they are all in Lekang. Instructor Qian, but the bad news is that Lekang has fallen. Thanks to 3 to the 4th power for the reward. Thanks to Chao Binghua for the tip. Grateful. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyubuletin Chigwa. Chapter 106. In the boudoir. The bathroom door was pushed open. The heat quickly hit me with a burst of fragrance. Shen Jian felt like he was in a sea of flowers. Refreshing the heart and spleen, making the whole body feel comfortable. The beautiful boss lady put on a purple dress, elegant and noble. The already top-notch figure is even more alluring in the clouds formed by the heat, like a hibiscus emerging from water. Tempting crime. Pity. Instructor Qian's message interrupted Shen Jian's second battle. King Yama himself? Instructor Qian, you finally replied. Lekeng has been shrouded in heavy fog recently. We thought it was normal weather, but strange things happened frequently for 3 days in a row. Even the Daxia Longke branch in Lekeng had no news. King Yama, is it a ghost realm again? Instructor Qian, no, that is not a ghost domain, it is just a normal heavy fog that does not affect entry and exit, but the fog concentration is too high according to Lekeng's intelligence. The visibility there is less than 3 meters, which is a supernatural event. Shen Jian frowned. Just this, can Lekeng fall? After thinking for a while, Shen Jian said something. King Yama himself, let's talk in detail when we go out. What's wrong? Yu Qian came slowly. He looked at his man with gentle eyes. She is a very traditional female ghost. My husband has been dead for many years, but he has not remarried or remarried. He has stayed at the villa of the past, planning to die alone. Then Shen Jian used an almost coercive method to get her to open her heart. All her life, she had identified with the man in front of her. I have something to do in the human world. After a few gentle words, Shen Jian turned and left. Real world. Shen Jian called Qian Quan and asked, what does the fall of Lekeng mean? Literally, this city is no longer under human control. Demons are dancing around inside, and there are supernatural incidents everywhere. As far as we know, there are no less than a dozen incidents. Qian Quan was sweating profusely, and his voice was trembling. Lekeng is a subordinate town of Qingxi. If Lekeng falls, how long can Qingxi survive? This is a ticking time bomb. It can spread to other places at any time. Shen Jian's frown deepened. More than a dozen supernatural incidents broke out in one place. Are the members of the Daxia Longke branch in Lekeng dead? Do you know the reason? There are some clues. It is said that a certain 3-star player became a subordinate of a ghost king, and allowed the ghost king to come to the human world through the two-realm channel. After many days of intelligence analysis, we guessed that this ghost king planned to sacrifice Lekeng for treatment. His wife. Shen Jian was surprised. The two-world passage allows people or ghosts to travel freely to and from the other world. But isn't this something that only the dungeon master can do? Shen Jian didn't think that a 3-star player could usurp the dungeon master's position in a dungeon that owned the ghost king. Without thinking for too long, Shen Jian said bluntly, then the 2 players I want to investigate, are there any traces or clues about them? Just the location. I see. Shen Jian hung up the phone. His eyes flashed. Ghost King. A ghost king unexpectedly descended on the Yang world. You should know that in the Nanjiang district where he is located, he has never even heard of it, let alone seeing the ghost king. Kilo, the woman in red, is already the strongest ghost he has ever seen. A ghost king, this temptation is too great. The gate of hell has opened, and the underworld has arrived. Perhaps, it's time to issue a formal announcement for the official arrival of the underworld. Shen Jian tapped his fingers on the table unconsciously, with a smile on his face. Catching ghosts and sending the living and dead to hell is the duty of the underworld. Now. It seemed like an opportunity. More than a dozen supernatural incidents broke out at the same time. Even if he owned the ghost domain, he would not be able to solve them immediately. At this time, the role of evil came into play. Although the life and death of the two living people he selected are still unclear. But there are quite a lot of dead people in the underworld. Especially the ghost bride and the 4 bridesmaids, all of them possess strength above King II level. Plus a morning stick and a soul enchanting chain. There is no opponent for those below the red level. The more he thought about it, the more Shen Jian felt it could be implemented. As long as the underworld appears and the supernatural events are solved, the legend of the resurrection of the underworld will officially become a reality. He was the first to establish the gate of hell for exactly this purpose. First couplet, in this world, it is up to you to harm heaven and earth. Second line, in the underworld, who has been spared from ancient times to the present. Hengpi, hell is coming. Lekang. The fog continued. The visibility has dropped to 2 meters, and pedestrians driving on the road dare not drive fast. The beeping horn kept sounding, which was a bit noisy. Shen Jian took a taxi and came here. The driver said nothing and refused to move on. Stopped at the edge of the cross-sea bridge. Got out of the car. Shen Jian was waiting on the side of the road, reading the summary of supernatural events in Lekang sent by Qian Quan. There are 17 pieces in total, large and small. Plus a ghost king. It can indeed be called a chaotic dance of demons. Not long after, I saw a taxi slowly approaching. Stopped in front of Shen Jian. Shen Jian opened the door and got in the car. And reported the address of Xianzhu's family. The driver was a middle-aged man in his 30s with a beard. He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped on the accelerator and drove out quickly. It took about 3 or 4 minutes. Shen Jian suddenly said, "Did you drive it wrong? Let me tell you a story." The driver brother suddenly spoke. Regardless of whether the answer was incorrect, Zigo said, "Once upon a time, there was a driver who solicited customers day and night because his wife was seriously ill and had no money for treatment. But in the end, he could only watch his wife die of illness. The driver couldn't bear the blow, so he drove his car and jumped into the river to commit suicide. Since then, a taxi without passengers has been regularly seen driving down the road. My story is over. Tell me, isn't this world unfair?" At this point, the driver let out a low and hoarse laugh. The atmosphere seemed particularly permeable. "Yes, it is indeed unfair." Shen Jian nodded and asked doubtfully, "But what does this have to do with me?" "Driver?" The driver's expression froze, with a question mark on his face. Shouldn't a normal person's reaction be fear? Even if he is not afraid, he still has some sympathy and can say a few comforting words. But what does this human being have to do with me? The joys and sorrows of human beings are not the same as yours, right? Aren't you afraid of me? The driver brother once again revealed his identity. The cloudy pupils looked at the rearview mirror, as if to say, "I am the driver who committed suicide by jumping into the river." In the rearview mirror, Shen Jian stared at his phone. On the screen of the phone, a supernatural event came into view. Ghost for rent, B-level supernatural event. Killing rules: if you stand near the cross-sea bridge for more than 10 minutes, a ghost taxi will drive towards you. The person who got on the bus has not been heard from yet. Note, this supernatural incident is controllable and the detention can be suspended. Shen Jian glanced at it and then returned his attention to Gazoo. With a dangerous look in his eyes, he said, "I'll give you 3 seconds to drive back to the right direction." Ghost Rent got no response. He also ignored Shen Jian. Driving the car without hesitation, heading towards an unknown location. "Are you blind or deaf? Can't you understand human speech?" Shen Jian raised his hand and slapped him. He cursed and said, "My map navigation is 15 minutes. I'll give you 10 minutes. If you can't get to the place, I will dismantle your taxi. The ghost rental brother was confused. Covering his face with one hand, he didn't come back to his senses for a long time. What's the situation? Do humans dare to take action against ghosts now? It's still open. Are you deaf? When Shen Jian saw that the other party didn't respond, he pushed over again. He is too lazy to catch a small white-clothed class now. Waste of his time. You still won't change the direction? I'll give you face, right? Shen Jian immediately added another one. The next second, another one slapped him. Ghost rental? Brother, I am willing to change direction, please give me a chance. Finally. After Shen Jian slapped a dozen of them, ghost rental seized the opportunity. Wrongful. It would be great if it were like this earlier. Shen Jian said casually. Ghost rental. You slapped me so fast, you slapped me 18 times in 3 seconds. Even if I say bald skin, I can't say anything. Ghost Taxi covered his face, feeling extremely aggrieved. But in Shen Jian's dangerous eyes, he used Qiu Mingshan's driving skills, drifted, and drove back to the original route. The speed is called fast. The heavy fog that obscured the view had no impact on the ghost rental. That's all. It only took 7 minutes. Ghost rental has exceeded the task. Sent Shen Jian to the garden community. Room 404, Building 1, Huayuan Community, is Suanjiu's home address. According to the information sent by Jian Quan, she and a single mother were the only ones in Suanjiu's family. Mom, you are quite young. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 107. Chapter 107 Ah, the Great, Sacred and Noble. The entrance to the garden community. Heavy fog enveloped the area. The heavy fog that lasted for several days in Lukeng made many people see bad signs and stay indoors. This saved Shen Jian a lot of effort. The ghost rental stopped. The ghost driver was a little nervous at this time. Because the human being behind him was unreasonable, and the key was that he was still strong. When he thought about his fate after he no longer had any use value, he panicked completely. No, I can't just sit there and wait for death. Seeing that Shen Jian was about to get off the car, Ghost Taxi couldn't help but yelled. Wait a moment. Shen Jian was startled, his eyes a little surprised. This ghost is not afraid of death. If that's the case, then he... Brother, please rest. How can I let you, the noble one, do such a small thing as opening the door? I am not worthy of being a renter. Ghost rental has started the dog-licking mode. Ppn Padayan ran out of the car, came to the rear door, and opened the door. Not only that. He also thoughtfully placed his hand on top of the car door. This is to prevent the other person from hitting their head. Although with the terror of this human being, it is more likely to smash the roof of the car, but this attitude has to be shown. The elder brother doesn't have to say it, but the younger brother has to do it. If he doesn't have this kind of eyesight, how can he drive a taxi? Shen Jian glanced at it. 2 words to describe it. Get on the road. He immediately thought that he would have to travel through Lukeng later, and it would indeed be a lot more convenient to have a ghost who was not restricted by the white mist's vision to help him drive. Think about it. Shen Jian ignored ghost rental for the time being. Instead, he said to himself, Netherworld. The words fell. A hell passage leading to the underworld emerged. Burnt brown earth paved the way. One after another, evil spirits came out. The ghost bride, the bridesmaid in red, Sadako, Miss Mary, the cracked girl, and the pen fairy. Each female ghost is wearing a black robe, with a soul-catching chain hanging from her waist, and holding a white mourning stick. I've met Mr. Yan. Shen Jian smiled bitterly. If there is no living person, it will be troublesome. They can only dispatch their own large troops. But looking at it this way, the female ghost wearing a large black robe has a unique flavor. Shen Jian felt it. Very satisfied. Higanbana played a huge role. Even Sadako, Miss Mary, and the Slit Girl, who only had the white level rank, were all promoted to the green dress level under the influence of Higanbana. Among them, the one who surprised Shen Jian the most was Bixian. After controlling several powerful ghosts, the Pen Fairy, and then taking the flower of the other side, the level of terror is already the same as that of the Ghost Bride. Solve the supernatural incidents here and take all the evil ghosts into custody. Shen Jian continued. Yes. The voices of warblers and swallows are sweet and sweet. They worked in pairs and each chose an area. Shen Jian looked at it. The corners of his mouth curled up. The first show of hell will begin here. Thump. At this time, Ghost Taxi knelt on the ground with a horrified expression. He is a ghost king who rules the four directions. No, even the ghost king may not be able to do this. Spirits. As soon as this guess came out, Gizu was visibly confused. He was just a white-clothed fierce ghost who drove around in taxis every day. How could he bump into a ghost and god and let the ghost and god get into his dirty taxi? And he seemed to have threatened the other party. He deserves to die. Fortunately, he knelt down first, otherwise if his legs were weak and he knelt down later, it would have been a bad first impression on adults. Great, noble, and lofty ghosts and gods, you are so sacred and inviolable. Your holy light shines on the world, just like the sun shining tirelessly on the world. Every ray of sunshine is your contribution to all things in the world. Gift. Shen Jian. He looked up at the sky. Dense white fog. No sun. What do you want to say? The ghost kowtows, please let me, who doesn't know the heights of heaven and earth, be the meanest groom. It will be my lifelong honor to be the groom of the great, sacred, and noble Lord Ghost. The corners of Shen Jian's mouth twitched a few times. I couldn't help but turn my head to the side. I don't have the shame to look at this vicious ghost kneeling and licking him again. Okay, wait here, I'll be down soon. Shen Jian waved his hand. Clear. Ghost Rental looked happy. Kneel down devoutly. Find the address. Shen Jian arrived at room 404 quickly. The door is not closed. Shen Jian slowly pushed away. One side is a wall and the other side is a wall. The room was a little messy. But there is no yin qi left. At this time, a cry of resentment came from the innermost room. It was like a woman's sobs. Whoa, I can't live anymore, I don't want to live anymore, I want to die, just let me die. From the sound of her voice, she seemed to be a woman who couldn't think of anything. I felt pity for the resentment in his voice. One cannot help but feel pity. Wanted to help this poor woman. Shen Jian is naturally no exception. He felt compassion and felt that he should do something. He can't control others living, so isn't it easy to die? He can die however he wants. With such a bodhisattva heart, Shen Jian gradually approached the source of the sound. That's a bedroom. When you open the door, you can smell the extremely strong smell of blood. A woman was standing on the balcony, her head stretched out, as if she was planning to jump off. It can be clearly seen that the woman is covered in blood and has various scars on her body. She may have been an M before she was alive. After seeing Shen Jian, the woman's sobs stopped. A vicious and joking roar came from his mouth. You opened the door, you want to save me? Why did you save me? I want to die, why don't you let me die? Well, how about you die with me? Shen Jian smiled slightly. Bury ghosts. In the summary of supernatural events given by Jian Quan, there are only a few fragments of information, which are compiled based on the statements of other residents. The killing pattern is suspected to have prevented her from committing suicide. Once the ghost decides that she wants to prevent her from committing suicide, the ghost will drag others along with her to be buried together. The level of terror is unknown. Now, Shen Jian knows. Close to King Ai level. Amidst the horrifying laughter of the burial ghost, Shen Jian not only did not retreat, but approached step by step, and said with the same strange smile, "Who said I came to prevent you from committing suicide? I came to help you." Buried ghost? I don't know if it's her imagination. She always felt that the human being in front of her seemed to have a light flashing in his eyes when he saw her. She was a little surprised. What's wrong with this human being? Why do you get excited when something like this happens? Subconsciously, the burial ghost said blankly, "How can you help me?" Shen Jian smiled. He showed a very professional smile. And he took out various props from his body. The mourning stick, the soul-seducing chain, the ghost sickle, the bloody chainsaw, the bloody mace, the crying face, the torn and scratched stockings. One thing after another, neatly placed on the bed. Then he looked at the burial ghost expectantly. "Tell me, how do you want me to train you? Jumping off a building to commit suicide is such a vulgar way of death. Do you know what will happen if you jump? You can imagine a big watermelon falling from a 10-meter high building. It would be absolutely horrific and not elegant at all. But don't worry, I'm a professional. For example, you can choose this mace set. There are nails attached to the mace, which can maximize the pain. If you feel it is not exciting enough, you can pull out the nails and drive them in again. Another example is this hanging package. First, a soul hook chain is used to penetrate the body, fixed in one place, and then a ghost rope is put on. Then both of them exert force at the same time and fly in opposite directions. During this process, you can experience the joy of being torn apart by 5 horses. And stockings, this is a romantic death package. I can pretend to be a gangster, pick up a mourning stick, and hit your head every 10 seconds, but there will only be slight scars every time. I will hit you all the way until you feel, suicide is a beautiful thing. It requires a lot of strength control, but I can do it. If you want to experience the beauty of violence, I can also use this chainsaw to kill you. Oh yes, I also have a crying face. I can help you cry after you die. The sound is definitely professional. Your funeral can be heard within a 10-mile radius. The more Shen Jian talked, the more excited he became. A female ghost with masochistic tendencies, this is wonderful. It's like a dream come true. And where Shen Jian didn't pay attention, the face of the burial ghost changed from a grinning and joking expression at the beginning, to gradually losing his smile, and then slowly becoming serious, until now. His face was pale. This human being is a devil. How is this suicide? Isn't this pure sadism? If she was really subjected to such torture, she might as well jump down and end her ghost life. And that's exactly what the burial ghost did. After hearing about Shen Jian's various ways of committing suicide, she kept retreating, approaching the end of the balcony, and jumped down under the increasingly excited eyes of Shen Jian. Shen Jian. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 108. Life is what I want. Death is what I want. You can't have both, you have to sacrifice your life to commit suicide. At this moment, the wise words appeared in the mind of the burial ghost. Because she meets a human pervert. Apart from perversion, she really couldn't imagine what purpose a human being would carry around carrying various handy tools. The torn stockings were evidence of his crime. Seeing Shen Jian getting closer and closer, the buried ghost felt a chill in his heart. This pervert is no joke. If he were caught, his death would definitely be brutal. The buried ghost wants to cry but has no tears. There was another faint sob. If she had known that the person who came in was a pervert, she shouldn't have cried. Do not come. The burial ghost screams. I'll jump down if you come here again. Shenjian? Stop struggling. No ghost will come to save you even if your throat is broken. Shenjian laughed strangely. Pressing harder and harder. Burial ghost. You're forcing me to do this. Even if I'm a ghost, I won't let you go. After the burial ghost finished speaking, he turned around and jumped down. Shenjian. This won't work. Shenjian sighed. The ghost rope on his wrist began to revive. He tied blood-stained hemp ropes in the sky, accurately landed on the neck of the burial ghost, and hung him up. The burial ghost looked up and saw Shenjian's handsome but devilish face. She was stupid. Are you playing with me? Even if you want to commit suicide? Tell me where the owner of this room has gone. Shenjian threatened. Daxia Longke only found Xianzhu's home address, but no one knew where he went. In Jian Quan's opinion, since a supernatural incident occurred in room 404, the possibility of there being any living people there is very low. But Shenjian knew that Xianzhu was not dead yet. The friend list of the thriller game is the best proof. The buried ghost hesitated. I don't know. That, female, girl, she escaped my attack. Shenjian's expression remained normal and he continued to ask, besides you, how many other ghosts are there here? 3. The burial ghost looked at Shenjian in fear. Shenjian was a little surprised. In the summary of supernatural events in Lekang, 2 cases here were recorded. The third and fourth cases were not recorded. One is the burial ghost in room 404. One is the long-headed ghost in room 403. The danger level judgment given by Daxia Longke is also B level. Because these 2 ghosts will not leave the room, the killing rule must enter the room to take effect, which can be dealt with last. 4 ghosts appeared in a residential complex. Is this the source of the opening of the passage between the 2 realms and the arrival of the Ghost King? Shenjian was thoughtful. Ghost eyes. The words fell. 5 scarlet ghost eyes on the back of the hand opened at the same time. A strange red light shrouded it. Shenjian soon made the discovery. The figure disappeared in place. Also disappearing together were the burial ghost paralyzed on the balcony, and the long-headed ghost blocking the door of room 403, stretching its neck to wait for its prey to take the bait. Room 606. 2 women, one older and one younger, were hiding in the bedroom. As the red light bloomed, Shenjian's figure appeared in the bedroom. Ah! A scream sounded. Great God, it's you. Then. The one in the middle seemed to recognize Shenjian and was full of surprises. It was Xianzhu. Shenjian raised his eyebrows. I thought you were dead, that's why you didn't go to Qingxi. Xianzhu smiled bitterly and said, Great God, I don't have the ability to suppress ghosts on my own. In fact, after I came out of the ghost group's takeout copy, I planned to set off to find you, but rumors of ghosts suddenly spread in the community, and then Lekang began to be shrouded in white mist, and I was not sure I could take my mother out. Shenjian was slightly surprised. The takeaway copy of Ghost Group was already a week ago. Did changes begin to occur in Lekang at that time? I posted a group message on the game interface a long time ago. Anyone with ghosts can find me. But, these are more than a dozen ghosts. Even Lekang has fallen. I even heard rumors on the Supernatural forum that the Ghost King suddenly appeared in Lekang. You. Shenjian. He heard what Xianzhu meant. I thought he would not dare to come after hearing the news about the Ghost King. It seems that he said it too vaguely. Seeing this, Shenjian had no intention of continuing. Let's go, I'll take you away. Haven't you always been curious about what opportunity I'm talking about? You'll see it soon. The red light bloomed again. Everyone in the bedroom appears outside the complex. A dilapidated ghost taxi was parked outside. Saw Shen Jian coming out. Ghost taxi immediately greeted him. Open the car door. Xianzhu looked suspicious. Master, can you see it? This looks like a ghost taxi. The ghost taxi was dissatisfied. Human, how dare you talk to the ghosts and gods like this? The ghosts and gods have chosen me to be his coachman. Shen Jian sat up. Drive your car and don't talk too much. Clear. Ghost Rental was excited. I couldn't help but sing, praise you, great, sacred and noble ghosts and gods, you are so perfect, you should be high up, and being able to be your coachman is an honor for me, a dirty and insignificant ghost. May the ghosts and gods shine on the world forever. Shen Jian. Suanjiu's mother lowered her voice, daughter, is this the ghost you call? It's quite cute. Xianzhu. What kind of evil ghost? She only saw a licking ghost and said things like dog licking. But this also made Xianzhu more curious. I'm curious about Shen Jian's identity and what is the opportunity he mentioned. She had a gut feeling that this would be an opportunity that would change her life. She wants to hold on to it. Master, where are we going now? Xianzhu asked. I'll let you see what's happening in the underworld. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 109. Lekang. Eastbound Avenue. A domestic car was driving on the road. There were 3 people in the car, 2 of whom were wearing uniforms. That is the symbol of Daxia dragon bird. This means that the other party is an official here. In addition, there was a little boy in his teens sitting in the back seat, holding a drawing board in his arms. It was the second living person selected by Shen Jian, Wei Cheng. The member of Daxia Longke who was driving said in a low tone, Lekang is completely over, the branch has fallen, and more than a dozen supernatural incidents, large and small, broke out at the same time. There is no way of knowing how many people will die. Even we are already struggling. The team members in the co-pilot seat also had low morale. They are the only remaining Daxia Dragon Bird players in Lekang. He barely survived because of the mission. Of course, the most important thing is to rely on the little boy behind you. That weird supernatural power will always be daunting whenever you see it. Giggle, gurgle big brothers, have you seen my body? While driving, a strange and childish voice sounded out of thin air. On the hood of the car, a head with a smiling face rolled down. It was the head of a little boy, with an innocent smile on his face, asking. It's like walking on the road, and a pink and tender baby asks passers-by for directions with a milky voice. Warm but cute. But at this time, everyone was shocked. While braking, the 3 of them got out of the car without hesitation, running towards the white mist. While running, Wei Qing scribbled on the drawing board. First there are 3 Q version villains, corresponding to the 3 of them. Behind him was a round head, jumping up and down. Immediately afterwards, 3 Q version villains stepped on the water-filled road. At the end of the road, a ghost holding an umbrella appeared. Don't touch the water. Wei Qing yelled. He immediately changed direction. The drawing board turned a new page. In a low building, a ghost full of tumors appeared blocking the intersection. 3 ghosts. Wei Qing's face changed in shock. In just 10 minutes, they encountered 3 fierce ghosts one after another. The level of danger is comparable to a thriller game. The graffiti has stopped here. Then blood began to appear all over the screen. It's so bright that it seems to be dripping through the drawing board. Wei Qing felt as if he had been struck by lightning. The ghost's supernatural powers were interrupted, and there was only one possibility: he would die 10 minutes in the future. Died here. And this future is gradually becoming a reality. Because when they turned the corner, they met the sarcoma ghost at the intersection. Behind him, the human-headed ghost boy was also rolling towards him. The sound of rustling rain also kept falling at this moment. 3 directions, 3 fierce ghosts. They were cornered. It's over. Looking at this scene, Wei Qing was shaken. And a few seconds after he put away the drawing board, the red paint began to fade. At the end of the road, 2 Q-version black-robed villains came over. Big brother, so you are here. Have you seen my body? The man-headed ghost boy smiled innocently. But at a certain moment, the smile on his face faltered. There was a premonition of impending disaster. He looked back suddenly. A female ghost appeared wearing 2 black robes, a soul-seducing chain at her waist, and holding a mourning stick in her hand. The King of Hell has an order to arrest the evil ghost and bring him to justice. A cold sound sounded. 2 soul-catching chains were thrown out at the same time, and one side of the hook pierced the head of the human-headed ghost, as if it was alive, piercing the body of one ghost, and then pierced toward the positions of other ghosts. Whoa! A shrill ghost scream sounded. It all happened so fast. In just a few blinks, the 3 emerging evil ghosts were pierced by the soul-seducing chains. On the other end of the chains, a black figure held a mourning stick and beat the evil ghosts. Disperse the supernatural power. Wei Qing and the others were stunned. What happened? Internal strife among evil spirits? Do you guys feel that the images of these 2 female ghosts are a bit familiar? A member of the Daxia dragon birds was surprised and uncertain. Black robe, hook-free chain, and white bone rod. What's wrong? The underworld is in trouble? The 3 of them thought at the same time that the image of the other party was very similar to ghosts and ghosts, as well as the wandering ghosts in the underworld mythology. How can it be? The underworld has revived. First it was a horror game, and now the underworld seems to have revived. What happened to this world? The 3 of them were horrified. I just felt like my breathing was stagnant. Even if they are members of the Great Xiaolonke and have accepted all the relevant knowledge about horror games and ghosts, their brains will inevitably shut down when faced with information about the underworld and the underworld that is enough to alarm the entire country. In the real world, there are no gods or ghosts. There is no heaven and no underworld. The sky is filled with gods, Buddhas, ghosts, and gods no longer exist in the world. Because of this, the emergence of horror games and the emergence of evil ghosts caused the world to collapse. Now they are told that the underworld may still be there. And recovered. Who dares to believe it? But whether it is the soul-catching chain or the mourning stick, they are exactly the same as those recorded in the underworld mythology. The 3 terrifying and invincible ghosts are no match for the wandering Yinze. Ghost Bride, after Bai Xian finished dealing with the 3 ghosts, he looked in Wei Qing's direction again. This made the 3 of them feel like they were facing a formidable enemy. No matter what the origin of these 2 ghosts is, one thing is certain: these 2 ghosts are also ghosts. And she's a female ghost. He also has a ghost inside him. Do you want to take him back? Bai Xian is considering whether to take action. The Ghost Bride glanced coldly. Yan Jun's order is to solve the supernatural events here, and ignore the rest. That's all. The Ghost Bride took out a white lantern. Wherever the lantern shines, everything around him started to become unreal. A deep ghost gate that seems to connect heaven and earth stands at the end. Gate of Hell. Holding a red and white lantern will make the Gate of Hell appear. The 2 female ghosts held the soul-catching chains and disappeared step by step at the end of the ghost gate. The 3 people present, Wei Qing, were ignored the whole time. He didn't pay attention to the horror in the eyes of the 3 people. Ghost, the Gate of Hell? The entrance to the legendary underworld. Could it be that the underworld has really revived? Yam Lord, the only ones who can use this title are the 10 Yamas of the underworld. The underworld is real. The two Daxia Dragon Bird members were in shock and could not extricate themselves. They knew that what happened today would definitely cause an uproar. Danger, the gate of hell, the king of hell. This world is becoming unfamiliar. The whole world was in an uproar. At the same time. The other side. You see it? Shen Jian sat on the ghost taxi and was very satisfied with their performance. Although there were only 3 fierce ghosts close to the Tsingyi level, they were able to complete the task so simply and efficiently, which was beyond Shen Jian's expectations. Xianzhu stared blankly in the direction where the ghost gate disappeared. I just feel my mind roaring. Master, are you related to the underworld? Xianzhu hesitated. Then I thought of the name Gui Ren had given to Shenjian, Master Gishan. Who in this world can be called a ghost? The king of hell. In this way, it seems that Shenjian's identity is not difficult to guess. Thinking of this, Xianzhu couldn't sit still. Great God, the opportunity you are talking about doesn't mean becoming a spy in the underworld, right? Shenjian nodded. Good. But isn't it true that only dead people can be the bad guys? It's okay for a living person to do something shady. Then I'll do it. Xianzhu quickly agreed. He was afraid that Shenjian would regret it. Nonsense. In this world, what supporter is greater than the underworld? Needless to say, alive. Even if he dies, he can still hold an official position in the underworld. How could she miss this pie-in-the-sky opportunity? Shenjian was not surprised. He looked at Wei Qing and said, that person is also the living Yinzei I chose. You can take care of each other in the future, but don't forget that after taking this position, you will have to travel around and assume the responsibility of Yinzei. Clear. Okay, now it's time to set off to find the Ghost King. Shenjian smiled. Whether it's an undercover agent showing up to catch ghosts, or taking the initiative to mention the King of Hell, or letting the Ghost Gate reappear, it's all his plan. Now, there should be rumors about the resurrection of the underworld all over Lekang. Having achieved this, Shenjian was satisfied. Next, it's his business. If a Ghost King fills up to the 18th level of Hell, the 9th level should also be unlocked. On the first 3 floors, he obtained the palace of King Qingguang. In the first 6 floors, he obtained the netherworld Bakyan Mountain, obtained the flower of the other shore, and had the capital to make the underworld advance together. The 9th floor was unlocked. Shenjian estimated that it should be the 2nd hall of the underworld. When the time comes, with the addition of the 3 major priesthoods, the underworld authority he can possess will be more comprehensive. Thank these evil ghosts for their contribution to the recovery of the underworld. He decided to give this Ghost King the highest standard of treatment later. Let the old guy blast the gold coins. Moreover, he heard that this Ghost King was so affectionate that he even wanted to sacrifice blood to Lekang for his wife. He wanted to see how graceful and charming the lady was. Hey, God, what are you laughing at? You're so evil. No, I'm not thinking about that. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 110. Lekang Sports Center. There is a dark wind blowing from heaven and earth, the green grassland is swaying and rustling with the wind, and the green leaves are blown up. On the green grass, ghosts sprang out one after another, leaving behind eerie roars, which was horrifying and scary. Then someone stands here, and his scalp must be numb. Grass Center. A ghost sedan was lifted up, and the light shone brightly. A female ghost wearing green clothes and a veil, with a faintly beautiful face, was taking a nap. Her skin was white and rosy, showing an unusual health. And outside the ghost sedan, a tall and powerful ghost with black horns was commanding the ghosts from all directions. It was the Ghost King who came to Lekeng. In front of the Ghost King, dozens of ghost figures were shaking, some had bleeding eyes, some had half of their heads cut off, and some were wearing blood-stained white clothes. A group of ghosts danced wildly, laughing and roaring. And the other side. The Daxia members who had come to Lekeng to support them also gathered here. These people are all ghost masters. All of them have mastered the ghost jigsaw puzzle and come from all over the world to support Lekeng. King of Ghosts, if there is any problem with Madam, we can discuss and solve it. You must go back to the horror world, otherwise we will use all the strength of the country to suppress you," shouted a city leader with a scar on the corner of his mouth. There was a certain determination in his words. He, you don't even have 5-star players here, why do you dare to say you can suppress me?" The Ghost King showed sarcasm on his face. His body began to grow at a speed visible to the naked eye, becoming extremely tall, exuding a monstrous yin energy, as if the evil energy of killing thousands of people gathered on him, as if it had materialized, and several ferocious stars vaguely emerged. The ghost head. At that moment, all members of Daxia were shocked. His face looked cold. A ghost at the level of a Ghost King is actually so terrifying. None of the ghost masters present could resist such supernatural power. Will be destroyed here. Do you really want to fight? This is the Ghost King, and there is also an unknown ghost lady. I suspect that the one in the ghost sedan is also a Ghost King, and is stronger than this one. One of the ghost masters whispered. After hearing this, everyone else was discouraged. Yes. The gap is too big. Even if they, a group of 3-star players, mastered some of Li Gui's puzzle pieces, they could not be a match for a Ghost King. On the contrary, it will accelerate the speed of the ghost's recovery in advance and die from the ghost's recovery. Rather than engaging in a fatal battle, it is better to cling on to life and preserve yourself. There are definitely more than 1 or 2 people who have this idea. Under the overwhelming yin qi of the Ghost King, some ghost controllers have lost the confidence to fight. This made the person in charge of Scarface's heart sink. This is the worst possible situation. The opponent is a ghost and will not revive. Although they are ghost masters and have mastered the ghost puzzle, they need to always pay attention to the use of supernatural powers to prevent their own ghosts from resurrecting. In this situation where the enemy is strong and we are inferior, it is only a matter of time before the military loses morale. Right now, no one can break the deadlock here. What to do? This question arises in everyone's mind. At this time, da-da-da. Dull, slow footsteps sounded. With each step, everyone's heart beats, as if this pace can disturb people's minds. In the white mist, the outline of a tall figure emerged. Those present narrowed their eyes. I saw the man in the fog clearly. It was a tall figure with a handsome outline. A blood-stained hemp rope was wrapped around his wrist. There were 5 faint cracks on the back of his hand, as if there were 5 closed eyes. Who is he? This is the doubt of all the ghost masters present. Until someone told the story. With such an appearance, I have an impression that he is the new star of that horror game. The 2-star copy controls the new monster of 2 ghosts, codenamed Yamluo. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. The 2-star copy controlled 2 ghosts. This newcomer is bold enough. Driving a ghost is a gamble on your life, but driving it at a low level is like loading a revolver with 5 bullets, and the probability of death is infinite. Another one comes to die. The Ghost King, on his side, grinned sarcastically. Shen Jian cast his gaze and spoke plausibly, as if he was counting something. Human, what are you counting? The Ghost King spoke, his voice low and sinister. Shen Jian smiled and said, how many ghosts do you have? Ghost King? Then what? Then, Shen Jian's lips curled up, I'll give you a big one. The form of King Yama, 20%. Shen Jian said to himself. The moment he raised his hand, the white mist in the sky disappeared. The sky is revealed. Under the thick dark clouds, the gloomy air was sweeping across the sky. In the end, the dark clouds could no longer restrain the yin qi. It was as if an invisible terrifying existence tore a crack in the sky, and a ghostly finger was conspicuous above Lekang. Then, he pressed down like he was crushing ants. That moment, the sky seemed to be cracked. Ghost King. Group of ghosts. Ghost Controller. What did he do? My mother asked me why I was kneeling because I saw a miracle. It's awesome. What was different from the exclamations on the Ghost Controller's side was the lineup on the Ghost King's side. Tai, I see my Tay waving to me. I also saw my great-grandfather greeting me. Stop, brother, we have something to talk about, don't do anything. The Ghost King was completely dumbfounded. He blocked this finger with his head. Outside the stadium, the ghost taxi driver has bowed his head and bowed. Ah! Great, sacred, and noble ghosts and gods, your glory shines on the world, turning into blazing flames, bringing immeasurable light, immeasurable fire, and burning away the desolation. Xianju swallowed and stared at this miraculous scene. The words that she originally thought were dog-licking remarks were said by her without any trouble at this moment. Praise, the great and sacred King of Hell who cannot be looked directly at. These words were not as grandiose as those of Ghost Rental, only her simplest sigh at the moment. The horror of the scene left her speechless, and she could only stand there, surrendering to this ghostly finger. The disgusting adjective seemed insignificant at this moment. The other side. When the white mist cleared the stadium, more than a dozen ghosts lay paralyzed on the ground, completely in a state of panic. Fortunately, I held back a little bit. Shen Jian let out a breath. He poked his hand and took out the soul-binding bag with bright eyes. 1 Tsingyi ghost, 2 Tsingyi ghosts, 11 Tsingyi ghosts. 1 red ghost, 3 red ghosts. There is also a ghost king. Harvest. I'm afraid that even if he emptied a 2-star copy, he wouldn't be able to assemble half the quality of such a lineup. This is really a gold coin explosion. Shen Jian's face was full of excitement. But I soon remembered something. He looked towards the ghost sedan. Lift the curtain. A ghost lady sitting in a sedan chair, falling into a slumber, came into view. A beautiful face is no worse than a beautiful landlady. Even more mature. There is a bit of nobility in his movements. Even if she is falling asleep, she is still holding her head in her hands, looking poetic and picturesque. This picture is very beautiful. But the next moment, this beauty was broken. MRS Ghost suddenly opened her eyes. After seeing a human being in the sedan, there was obvious confusion on her face covered by the veil. Then it turned into sullenness. Bold, how did Niu Li take care of this place, and let a human run up? Human, if you still want to save your life, just stay down. Shen Jian looked at the other party with interest. Is it because you know you can't do anything now? As soon as these words came out, Madame Ghost's face clearly showed panic. Human, you are seeking death. Madame Ghost's voice turned cold. But Shen Jian was approaching step by step. Stretched out his hand. He lifted the other party's veil, revealing that mature and beautiful face that has been baptized by the years. There was a hint of panic on his face. What do you want to do? The ghost lady was completely panicked. He also opened Jiao's curtain. Want to call for support. But the next moment I was dumbfounded. The surroundings were empty, and there was no sign of any ghosts anywhere. On the entire green lawn, there was only one sedan chair and the man and woman inside it. The ghost lady gritted her teeth, "Get out of my sedan immediately." I can pretend that nothing has happened. You know Niu Li, the ghost king who came to your human world. He is just my son-in-law of the Lu family. You can imagine what will happen to you if you touch me. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. The ghost king is the son-in-law. So you have a good background. The ghost lady nodded. Let me go, as long as I say hello, you can walk sideways in the horror world. Shen Jian narrowed his eyes. He looked up and down. Don't let go.